So after Disney has now secured two much-needed box office success stories with Alien Romulus and Deadpool and Wolverine, it's clear to me now more than ever that their plan moving forward is to ride those nostalgia waves, all the way to the point that hopefully audiences forget about how bad they are at telling stories. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Alien Romulus exploded onto the scene with an estimated $108 million global box office haul in its opening weekend, ending Deadpool and Wolverine's 3-week reign at the top. The fact that both of these movies are technically Disney productions, that means the living embodiment of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is dominating the summer with a 42% market share.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Now, if you look at this on the surface level, it's great news for Disney's bottom line. But what kind of a message is it sending that those two movies in particular are the ones that audiences seem to be connecting with? Two films that rely heavily on Easter eggs and making references to other movies rather than being their own thing. Now, I've already talked about Deadpool and Wolverine more than I cared to. So if you want my thoughts on that movie, go back and watch those videos and then apply that logic to these numbers and you'll know where I stand. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on Alien Romulus specifically, even if a lot of my issues with this movie are very similar to the issues I had with Deadpool and Wolverine. Granted, I enjoyed Alien Romulus a lot more than I did Deadpool and Wolverine. But that doesn't mean there still isn't plenty of gripes to be had.
Why are you the way that you are?
On a positive note, before I get into the negatives that a lot of people will probably focus on, I will say that I'm not totally against Romulus doing well for a couple of reasons. For one, there were people involved with this movie that I did enjoy their contributions to an extent. And mostly I'm talking about Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, who I do think were the standouts of this movie, and I in general enjoyed their performances. Also, from a pure fan perspective, again, I have a lot of love for this franchise, and I do want to see it do well if it means that we will be getting better Alien movies in the future. But that's where my reservations come into play, because I have to ask the question again, does this Alien movie in particular doing well send the wrong message? As I've already stated in my other videos, I consider most of the Alien movies to be the thinking man's blockbusters, with deep philosophical ideas about creation, procreation, and the dangers of corporate greed and exploitation.
I'd buy that for $1.
And once again, not to keep knocking on Romulus, but I didn't see any of that in this latest entry. Again, I did find some enjoyment in it, but it did feel considerably more shallow, like your standard modern blockbuster. And I'm starting to believe that that was very much a conscious decision initiated by Disney. And I don't have any proof of that, it is just the impression that I get. And you might ask, why do I say that? Well, if you take into consideration Disney's track record, and how modern audiences seem to be easily fooled by cheap fan service, is it outside of the realm of possibility to consider that Disney very intentionally wanted to dumb things down and just apply the same logic that they use with all of the franchises they own to the Alien franchise?
That makes sense.
If you look at their previous releases in such franchises as Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and now even Marvel, a lot of the same tactics that are used in those movies were used in Alien Romulus. CGI recreations of legacy characters, a heavy reliance on callbacks to previous beloved movies, a removal of the more thought-provoking and sometimes controversial aspects of previous movies. To me, when companies say that they want to modernize these old franchises, this is the type of thing that they're talking about. It's not so much about modernizing it as it is taking what worked before and trying to rework it into something that feels new, when in reality, it offers nothing new. Does that not sound like a perfect description of Alien Romulus? In a lot of ways, it feels like Disney doing the bare minimum from a storytelling and innovation perspective, and trying to get by regurgitating the ideas of much more talented creators.
Because it's all part of the plan.
I do believe that Alien Romulus served its purpose. They set out to deliver something simpler, something less controversial, and this was all based on the polarizing reactions to the other films in this series. Further proof of Disney's more reactionary filmmaking techniques. I believe the end result is a safe movie that will please a lot of people on the surface level, but will it have the lasting impact of its predecessors? Even Prometheus, one of the most divisive films in the franchise, has gained a lot more recognition over the past few years, the more people are given time to digest it. I do believe that the ideas contained within that film have taken a little bit more time than expected for people to appreciate. With Romulus, the praise has been there mostly from the start, and I believe a lot of it is rooted in the idea that this movie is fun and that it's taking things back to basics. To me, this insinuates, however, that more thought-provoking movies can't be fun, and that is a notion that I do not agree with.
Not up in here! Not up in here!
And to me, going back to basics refers more to a regression in the storytelling than it does recapturing the essence of the beloved first two films. And again, I'm not saying that Alien Romulus should not exist. I'll probably watch it again, and who knows, I might even gain more appreciation for it the more time I have with it. At the very least, I might just end up looking at it like I would an Alien video game. A side quest of sorts that really doesn't fit in with the larger narrative or tone, but I'm still glad that it exists. Alien Romulus did so well at the box office that my big concern is that the powers that be will take this as a sign that most people do not want to see this franchise continue to evolve like it's done for the past 40 plus years. I do not want future Alien movies to get more complacent based on this success story. Success oftentimes does not breed innovation, especially when you're talking about major Hollywood studios. My hope is that any future Alien movie we might get will be better able to find a balance between spectacle and innovation. The combination of spectacle and innovation that made me fall in love with this franchise to begin with. Now, if Romulus being a success leads to that, then that's great. But I'm more inclined to believe, because of who is involved, that it will have the reverse effect. And what we will get in the future is more Disney-fied Alien movies that do not offer a lot outside of some cheap thrills. Why don't you just say that you hate the movie and everyone who loves it and be done with it? You're just mad that Disney is the one who fixed all of the problems that your beloved Ridley Scott created with those two Alien prequels. I mean, an Alien movie without xenomorphs? Who wants to see that?
Jesus H. Christ. Real Shift, you sound like a soy boy right now. Why don't you just call this movie what it is? Absolute Gen Z trash. Nobody asked for a Forrest Gump synthetic anyway. Androids are like a box of chocolates. You never know if you're going to get a good one or an asshole. $10 says Disney makes a young Ripley movie and uses the Luke Skywalker de-aging technology. I wish someone would de-age me and give me back the time I wasted watching this movie.
Y'all be cool. Right on.